I finally see where this is all going, where B2B SaaS go to market is going in the next 6 to 9 months. And I'm going to walk you through my whole argument here and how I see this connective tissue playing out. And I will tell you my forecast for the players that are going to be left behind if they don't adopt this form of connection. Now, I'm going to be tagging some people in this post because it is my attempt to cry out to them to adopt the future so that it doesn't leave them behind. And I think that from a broad swatch perspective, we can't be tied to our UI anymore. We must create structured APIs to be able to talk to the world and have the world talk to us. And the thing that is going to be disappearing are the walls. And so let me talk to you, and this has great implication for our leadership because suddenly it will mean that they can be responsible for actual work again. And right now, they don't know what to do. It has implications for our systems, what we build and how we build. And it has implications for the speed at which we ship. And now the confining thing that will make it harder and harder for us to ship are the limits of our own imagination. And so let me walk you through why I think Anthropic specifically has helped create the foundation that will make B2B SaaS adopt AI unlike any other industry, and specifically how go-to-market will benefit. So let's dive in, and I'm going to talk to you about the players in this space, how it matters, why it matters, how we're going to get there, and who will be left behind if they don't adapt. Let's dive in. This is my view of the world, that there are going to be several things here. Let's talk about each of the edges of the triangle first. There's systems of record. These are your CRM. This is your Snowflake instance. This is what is true about your customers that you know. Then there are systems of information. This is what is true about the world. This might be web search. It might be a database like Shovels or the Swarm or Predict Leads for technographics, right? We are talking about where can you find structured information about your prospects, and this might be AI agents. And then there are systems of action. These are the things that's going to take the systems of record, the systems of information, and deploy them. And so this is really, really, really key that these three systems all talk to each other. And the question is, how do they do that? Will they do that with the MCP server? The MCP server is what's going to connect Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, your system of intelligence. You will have a single command center that will be able to not hallucinate because it's going to talk to your system of record to validate. It's going to talk to the system of information to be able to actually query live data, and then it's going to be able to talk to your system of action. This is why I want Clay to build this system of action, the connection to the MCP server, because I think that they are really well positioned to do this, but I don't know that they're going to have the wherewithal to be able to say, we are so confident about the quality of our product, we are going to remove the UI from that experience. That is not to say that you won't be able to go into Clay and look at things and change things. In fact, you must, because that is where the layer of observability will be. Same thing with our systems of information. My hope is that our system of action, and it may be Clay, it may be a tool like N8N, I'm not sure. It depends on who adopts this and how well they adopt it. I have tried looking at things like Make for some of this system of action. I'm a big Clay fan, of course, but Make doesn't understand. They don't understand what is necessary to be able to take a real campaign to market. And you can do this today in Clay, but you can't talk to it. And right now, I find myself copying and pasting. I'm copying and pasting from systems of information, systems of record, and systems of action. and I shouldn't have to do that. If my job is copy and pasting, these models need to be able to talk to all of these places. I am hoping that HubSpot will build an MCP server. I am hoping that already folks like Shovels, these systems of information, these large-scale databases are able to talk to this MCP server. And let me actually walk you through what this looks like in practice. I go in, I log into my system of intelligence, and that might be a tool like Glean for the enterprise. And what I say is I go and talk to my system of information, and I say to develop a PVP, a permissionless value prop. And I say to the Shovels database or to the Swarm database, I say, I'm looking to query the database and find examples of insights that are independently valuable to my customers. Go find me 3. Then what I do is I say, go talk to my system of record. Is there any other interesting information that would be absolutely useful to my prospects? Well, the system of intelligence knows this. And then what I say is, okay, great. Now that we have this done at low scale, what I want you to do is I want you to create basically arbitrary SQL commands that are going to talk to the system of action. And it's going to pull from the system of information and the system of record. And the system of action will be the orchestration layer. Now, there is one company here that I think has the ability to sell shovels in a gold rush, and that is Ampersand. Ampersand can be the place that these things talk to each other. They do deep SaaS integrations. They make sure that your Salesforce is multi-tenant, right? So you can have conversations with some of your customers' Salesforce if you need to. And that type of connection is not going to be done by lightware, right? It's going to be done with industrial strength SaaS like Ampersand. And so the second that all of these systems can talk to each other, and I do think that players are going to ride this line. So Clay may, for example, descend from the system of action and be able to own the system of information and the system of action. But it can only do that with things like deep integration from Ampersand. And I do think that it is plenty fine for a tool like Clay to stay on the very edge of this triangle here and say, we are going to be the system of action, but we are going to allow the models to talk to us, and we will create a communication layer. And Ampersand will be the thing that powers that hub. And the thing about the system of intelligence is it's going to know who you are. And these large language model providers are in an amazingly good position to be able to understand everything about your business, about what you care about, and it doesn't have to hallucinate because remember, the system of intelligence can go actually run commands and get ground truth from the system of record. It can go test out it can go test out the system of information and see what is going on with the world here, and that might be the web, etc. And then you as a revenue leader will be able to say, go launch the campaign. Go take all of this information, orchestrate that layer, and try it out, right? Because the system of intelligence does not need to be the thing that is actually shipping, right? It actually can't, right? It's not designed to do that. And that is why, and the flow between these things is the flux capacitor. It is our future. And the single types of tools that have the capability to win right now are those that are either going to be the connective tissue, the ampersands of the world, or that will recognize that in order to win in the AI first world, you need to not try to own the user experience. You need to build some of these tools for the MCP server to be able to connect and operate. But the folks that are going to win are those that will have the very best communication layer, right? Where the model can have beautiful control of so much automation and workflows that the system of action is designed to take. Now, those that are afraid of this, that cower, that pull their software back, that say, I don't want to give control because it means I will be disintermediated. It means that anyone can switch out my system of action. Those will be the losers. The folks that cannot and will not decide to disrupt themselves, even though the wave is coming. And I can see a future in short shot here where the system of intelligence, where the Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini can orchestrate things on your behalf. And the nice thing about this just connecting and not defining any of the three axes is that it's not going to bullshit you, because the purpose of the system intelligence is to orchestrate information, not invent information. And this is how we get to truth. This is how we can use these models to basically remove all of the graft that we have been sold about interfacing with technology. No longer are we going to have to figure out where that damn button is. We will no longer have to copy and paste. We will no longer be asked to subsidize the poor user experiences that SaaS companies have come to depend on our own intelligence to do. The models will take care of the bullshit for us. And what it will mean is that leaders that are not talking with AI now, that do not believe that this is here to stay, that do not think that this is a dramatically disruptive technology, they will be left behind, because for so many years, their biggest skill was orchestration of people. And instead, they will need to learn how to orchestrate systems with their voice, by talking to their data, by talking to public data, by talking to the systems of action. They will be able to sit down and launch a campaign in a day. But they must know how to talk to these systems. They must have organizing principles in their head, and they must know where the models fail and how they can talk to their data so that they can mitigate the worst of AI. And that will not happen overnight. And the leaders that will win, the folks that will be able to talk to the systems of intelligence, those are the leaders that understand that they need to get familiar with these large language models by talking to them. And they've already started. And the best of them are very far along. And the only thing we are waiting for is the wave to crash. And the second that these tools start talking to each other, and AI is not defining your information, it is only talking to it and orchestrating it, that is when leaders that succeed will be those that can talk with AI. And the leaders that will have a damn hard time finding a job are those that think that they can continue to outsource their go-to-market motions to entire teams. And that is what's going to happen over the next 6 to 9 months. And the people that have decided that they will not be building these dotted lines are the systems that shall be passed over. Because I have seen a future where I can build at 10 times the speed with an MCP server connection. And I believe that that type of sea change does not happen often. And the ability to create in 30 minutes what used to take me 5 to 6 hours, even with AI, is a step change in performance. And this is where I believe B2B SaaS is going. And you have one option, and that is to get busy living or get busy dying. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my take. And please, Clay, connect to the MCP server world.